Ever have trouble resting? I didn't think so until I stopped to have a good look at my own life, and I saw busyness everywhere. Everything seemed to be done in a hurry. What then about our souls? Do we struggle to find rest here? Freedom from fear and anxiety? Freedom from guilt and shame? What about freedom from oppression? Well, here this morning in Psalm 62, David brings us to rest for our souls, which of course is rest in God. And as he starts, he ties rest together with salvation. They go hand in hand. Listen, truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from him. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. And that is, of course, the risk for him, being shaken. He pictures himself like a toppling wall, about to fall. How long will you assault me? Would all of you throw me down, this leaning wall, this tottering fence? Surely they intend to topple me from my lofty place. They take delight in lies. Why? What's at the heart of this attack from others? Certainly as the conquering king that God had made him over the years, he knew what it was to face the attack from troops and forces and enemies. This is closer to home, I think, and in some ways more difficult to handle, and perhaps the very thing that threatens the rest of our souls more than ever. Listen, halfway through verse 4, with their mouths they bless, but in their hearts they curse. Have you ever been stabbed in the back by somebody you really trust? You know, somebody really close to you. It hurts unbearably, doesn't it? It sort of disintegrates you from the inside. It destroys the fabric of your life, like a wall that's toppling or a fence about to fall. Now, this also reminds us that we can't find our hope in people, those closest to us. And that's clear if we jump to verse 9. Surely the lowborn are but a breath, the highborn are but a lie. If weighed on a balance, they're nothing. Together they're only a breath. You can't rely on the people, even those most close to you. You can't rely on things either. So don't be tempted to go after them, whatever the cost. Verse 10, don't trust in extortion or put your vein in stolen goods. Though your riches increase, do not set your heart on them. When our hope is in people or in stuff, we need to do two things. We need to be reminded of God's power, not theirs. And therefore we need to be reminded of our priority to live for him, not them. That's where this psalm ends. One thing God's spoken, two things I've heard, two things. Power belongs to you, God, and with you, Lord, is unfailing love, number one. And you reward everyone according to what they have done. You see, the power and the love of God is the sure foundation. And therefore live for him. That's the two most important things. Of course, that's the two things we forget. Every time we put our hope and trust in the people around us, or in the things that we bed ourselves in with in our lives. And so now we're ready to come back to the beginning of the psalm, the middle of the psalm, where this true rest is surely found. It's in salvation from God as we do what? Put our hope and our trust in him. Listen, verse 5, he repeats, yes, my soul find rest in God. My hope comes from him. Truly, he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God, not on people, not on stuff, on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. That's where our hope is. And putting your hope there is what is the route to rest in our souls. And so David has a summons for the people, verse 8. Right at the heart of his psalm, trust in him at all times, you people. Pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge. Trust him at all times. Pour out your hearts to him in the way that you're tempted to pour out your hearts, as it were, independent on the people around you, to pour out the very soul of your life to the things that so comfort you. No. At all times, trust him. Pour out your hearts to him. Do you need to do that now? It requires a turn, of course. You've got to turn from those temptations to trust in the affirmation and the support of the people around you. And you've got to choose to put your trust in him rather than things. At all times, pour out your heart to him. Do you need to do that now? Why don't you stop? Ask him to show you where your wall is toppling, the things you've been trusting in. And put your hope in God. He is your fortress and your refuge. Do it now.